Have you ever felt like the world forgot your name? Have you ever sat in silence, not because you chose it, but because silence was the only thing that stayed? You didn't ask for this. You didn't sign up to wake up feeling heavy, or to walk through a world where everything feels distant, muted, like you're watching life through glass, like your soul is one step behind your body. And maybe you don't even remember the last time you felt real joy. Not the kind you fake when someone asks how you're doing, not the kind you post in pictures, but the kind that lives in your chest, that fills a room just by being alive inside you. There's a kind of sadness that doesn't scream. It just settles. Like dust on furniture that used to shine. Or like rain that never ends but never floods. Just a soft, gray drizzle that stays. Maybe that's where you are now. Not broken, not lost. Just tired of pretending. And I want you to know, I see you. No cliches, no shallow motivation. Just presence. This video isn't here to fix you. Because you are not a machine. You're not some puzzle missing pieces, you're human. And some days just breathing is an act of courage. So if you're here, watching this with a tired heart, I'm not going to ask you to get up or fight or smile. I'm going to sit with you in the quiet, in the dark, where healing often begins. Let this space be a breath, not a command, not a sermon, just a breath, one you don't have to take alone. We'll go slow, no rush, just words and silence, and maybe a little light. Because even if it doesn't feel like it right now, you're not your sadness. You're the one witnessing it. And that changes everything. There's a kind of weight that doesn't leave bruises. You can't point to it, can't scan for it, can't prove it to anyone who hasn't felt it. But it's real. God, it's real. It sits behind your eyes when you try to smile. It pulls your shoulders down when you walk into a room. It whispers in your ear when the world gets too quiet. It's not always loud. It's not always sharp. But it's always there. Like a shadow that doesn't obey the sun. Like a fog that follows you indoors. Sometimes you wake up already tired, and you wonder how you're supposed to carry a day, a life, a self, when your soul feels heavier than your skin. People ask you what's wrong. You say, nothing. Not because that's true, but because trying to explain this feels like screaming underwater. No one hears you. And worse, you start to believe no one will. You become fluent in silence, in nodding when you want to scream, in laughing when you want to cry. You carry it like armor, this invisible pain. Because if you dropped it, you're afraid that everything else would fall too. But here's the truth, even if you don't feel it yet, the fact that you're still here means something. Not to the world, maybe. Not to the system, not to the noise, but to life itself. Because life hasn't given up on you. And deep down, somewhere beneath the ache, you haven't given up either. You wouldn't be here, watching this, letting these words into your heart, if something inside you didn't still believe in light. Even if it's just a flicker, even if it's just curiosity, even if you click this video hoping to feel anything at all, that's not weakness. That's resilience disguised as surrender. And no, you don't need to snap out of it. You don't need to be positive. You just need to be real, to be honest, to admit what you've been carrying alone for too long. So let this moment be your permission to rest, to cry, to not have it all together. You're allowed to not know how to keep going and still keep going. You're allowed to fall apart and still be whole, because your worth is not measured by how much you produce or how happy you seem. It's measured by the simple, quiet miracle that you exist and that you're still trying in your own way to find your way back home. There was a time, maybe long ago, when something inside you burned. It didn't need a reason. It didn't ask for permission. It just glowed, quietly, wildly, like a small fire at the center of your being. You felt it when you laughed without holding back, when you dreamed out loud, when you believed in things you didn't yet understand. But slowly, something changed. Maybe it was heartbreak. Maybe it was disappointment. Maybe it was nothing you can name, just the slow erosion of color in a world that got too loud, too fast, too sharp. And now, there are days you look in the mirror and don't recognize what you see. Not because your face has changed, but because the light behind your eyes has dimmed. It's not gone, but it's quieter now. Buried, maybe. Covered by layers of pain you never asked for. That's the thing about depression. It doesn't just take your energy. It takes your why, your reason, your meaning. It rewrites the stories you used to believe about yourself, turns them cold, turns them silent. It says, why bother? Who cares? What's the point? And you start to forget what hope used to feel like. You forget the sound of your own laughter, the shape of your own dreams. But here's something depression doesn't know. The light in you was never meant to burn like a wildfire, always roaring, always visible. Sometimes it becomes a coal, still warm, even if you can't see it, still breathing, even if you've forgotten how to feel it. The light fading doesn't mean it's gone. It means it's resting, recovering, waiting. And no matter how far you think you've fallen, you haven't fallen out of reach. Because light isn't only brightness. It's also warmth, it's memory, it's presence, and it lives in strange places, in the hush of the night, in the rhythm of your breath, in the fact that your heart, even heavy, still beats. There is a sacred kind of light that only appears in the darkness. You don't have to force it. You don't have to chase it. You just have to stop for long enough to notice it. So if you're feeling empty, hollow, lost, know this: you're not broken. You're becoming. And even if you don't believe in the light right now, that's okay. It still believes in you. There's a moment, usually when everything is quiet, when the darkness inside you feels like it's no longer just passing through. It feels like it is you. Like you've become the storm you've been trying to survive. You look at your life, your thoughts, your reflection, and wonder if this is who you've always been, or if you're simply drowning in something that doesn't belong to you. But listen closely. You are not the storm. You are the sky it moves through. The open space that holds it all. The quiet before, the chaos during, and the stillness after. Your emotions are real, but they are not permanent. Your thoughts may be loud, but they are not law. The storm has a voice, but you have a soul. And that soul is not fragile. It's weathered winds far stronger than this. It stood in the downpour and kept going, even when soaked in sorrow, even when nobody noticed. So when the waves come crashing, don't curse the tide. Don't try to outrun it. Just anchor yourself. Breathe. Let it pass through you without claiming you, because storms don't last, but you do. You remain. There's a kind of strength in not needing to feel strong, in letting the sky cry when it needs to, in allowing the winds to howl without losing your center. Because even if you sway, you do not fall. Even if your thoughts spiral, you are still here, watching, witnessing, waiting. The storm wants you to believe it is all there is, but storms are loud liars. They shout, "You're alone," but you're not. They scream, "You'll always feel this way," but you won't. They whisper, "There's something wrong with you," but there isn't. You're not too sensitive. You're not too much. You're not too broken. You're human, tender and vast and wild, capable of feeling deeply and healing just as deeply. And sometimes healing doesn't look like joy. It looks like surviving one more hour, like taking one honest breath, and like remembering you are the sky and the storm is just weather. There is a kind of silence that doesn't ask for words. It doesn't rush to fix, doesn't try to explain. It just sits gently, patiently, like an old friend who knows that healing comes not from answers, but from presence. When was the last time you allowed yourself to simply be? Not productive, not improving, not escaping, just existing. There is something sacred about stillness, not the forced kind, where you sit still but your mind screams. I'm talking about the kind where your soul finally exhales, where the noise settles like dust, and you begin to hear what's always been underneath. In the mirror of stillness, you see yourself differently. Not as a failure, not as someone falling behind, but as someone in motion, even in rest. You notice the ache behind your eyes, the tightness in your chest, the longing that has no name. And for once, you don't run from it. Because maybe this is the first time you're allowing yourself to feel without fleeing. It's not weakness. It's not giving up. It's grace. You don't need to explain your pain to justify its presence. Your sadness does not require permission to be valid. Stillness is not absence. It is awareness. And in that awareness, you begin to see that your sadness is not here to destroy you, but to speak to you. What is it trying to say? That you are tired of pretending, that you've neglected parts of yourself for far too long, that your heart wants more than survival? Listen, not with your ears, but with your breath, with your body, with the quiet places in you that rarely get a voice. This stillness is a mirror. And though it may first show you your pain, it also reveals your depth, your tenderness, your resilience. You are not empty. You are spacious. You are not numb. You are overwhelmed by what you've held in. And slowly, as you sit with yourself, without judgment, without needing to become something else, you begin to remember that peace is not found in fixing. It's found in feeling, in making space for the storm, for the silence, for the self. Let this moment be your sanctuary. No pressure, no pretending, just breath, just presence, just you, raw, real, and enough. There's a story written in the ashes of every soul, a story not of defeat, but of endurance. It's not loud. It doesn't shout its name, but it's there, burning quietly in the deepest part of you. A fire, small, flickering, but alive, even on your worst days, even when the darkness felt endless, even when you whispered, "I can't do this anymore." And yet, you did. You made it to this breath, this moment And no matter how broken you felt, something inside you has refused to die. Not out of stubbornness, but out of something far more sacred. Hope, not the pretty kind. Not the one tied in ribbons or written on posters, but the kind that hides in rubble. The kind that clings to life when everything else lets go. The kind that says, I don't know how, but maybe I'll try again tomorrow. This fire, it's not here to save you. It is you. The part of you that remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. The part of you that knows your worth even when your mind forgets. It burns in the tears you fought back, in the moments you showed up even when it hurt, in the choice you made to press play on this video when you could have chosen silence instead. And no matter how dim it gets, it cannot be extinguished. Because this fire doesn't live in your circumstances. It lives in your spirit. A spirit that bends, but does not break. A spirit that trembles, but does not vanish. A spirit that says, I am still here. And that truth alone is a kind of miracle. So let this fire warm you. Let it remind you that you are more than your thoughts, more than your past, more than the voice that tells you you're not enough. You're not weak for feeling deeply. You're not failing because you're still healing. You're a story still being written, and some of the most beautiful stories begin in darkness. The fire inside you may be small, but it is enough. Enough to guide you. Enough to survive this. Enough to become who you were always meant to be. So hold it. Protect it. Let it breathe. You don't need to rise today. You don't need to conquer anything. Just don't let go of the ember. Because from it, a whole new world can be born. Maybe this wasn't what you expected. Maybe you thought this would be a solution, a map, a key to unlock something broken inside of you. But healing doesn't always come with answers. Sometimes it comes with presence, with stillness, with being seen. And if nothing else, I hope that's what this moment gave you. A space to be exactly where you are, without shame. No one climbs out of the dark in a single step. No one heals by pretending they're not hurting. And the truth is, you were never supposed to do this alone. There are others right now in different corners of the world watching this same video, sitting in the same quiet, carrying the same weight. You're not the only one who's felt like giving up. You're not the only one who's wondered if they'll ever feel okay again. And that means you're not alone. Not now. Not ever. There are souls invisible to you who understand. And there is something unbreakable about that invisible bond. So when the nights get long and the days feel hollow and the mirror feels like a stranger, come back to this stillness, to this truth that you are allowed to rest. You're allowed to not have it figured out. You're allowed to feel lost and still be worthy of being found. And even if the pain returns tomorrow, you will meet it with the strength of someone who chose to stay. Not because it's easy, but because something deep within you knows that life, even with all its shadows, still holds meaning. So let this be your reminder. You are still here, still breathing, still becoming. And that is enough. Let your next breath be soft. Let your next step be light. Not forward, just inward. Because sometimes the journey back to yourself is the most courageous thing you can do. And if no one has told you this in a while, I'm proud of you for feeling, for staying, for listening. You are not alone in the dark. You are the light that the dark could not put out.